got Personality Crisis, which I haven't been able to yet. I caught another doc, but tell me about this one that we missed at New York and is out on Showtime.
Yeah, so I caught it back on when we were at New York. And it's directed by Martin Scorsese, telling the story of this musician, David Johansen, who has lived a pretty interesting life from the different projects that he's been a part of. I particularly, I'm not a person who came in with a lot of knowledge of what he's worked on. So it was just kind of cool to learn about it. But I also appreciated that it wasn't necessarily like a standard kind of Wikipedia entry biopic. It's predominantly done through interviews and archival footage. And the interviews being with David Johansen himself, and not really even in a traditional style of interview. He's the type of singer who, when he gets on stage, he often does these long introductions to his songs, and then those introductions serve as the jumping off points into different parts of the documentary. So it was a cool way to profile him. I loved how it was shot in a very intimate way with this small room setting for his musical performance, and a lot of emphasis on those performances as well. He's just such an electric personality. So yeah, even though I didn't necessarily know much about his work or his work as Buster Poindexter or anything like that, I was pretty compelled by it when I saw it back in New York.
Interesting. All right, it's out on Showtime. I'm definitely going to be catching up on this one. Do you have a favorite Martin Scorsese doc? Because I think that's underrated. He works on a lot of in-between documentaries in different capacities, producing and such. But
his Dylan doc is really great.
His Dylan doc on Netflix? Yeah, that one's pretty cool. I've used a couple of clips from that. I'm going to go so old school. You know the, what is it, Italian American?
Yeah.
The one with his parents, right? Let's see if I can find. Yeah, right here, Italian American. Yeah. I think this one's still on YouTube. It's on HBO Max, as I can see right here. Watch this one. I think this one's funny. This one's always been one of my favorites because it's just so raw, the way he records his parents. But yeah, no, Martin Scorsese, he's definitely got a future. What do you think of his 4-hour cut, bro?
Yeah, so news broke this week that it's going to be 3 hours 54 minutes, I believe. Killers of the Flower Moon. I can't wait for a bunch of people with less than 1,000 followers on Twitter to be like, oh, they should have edited this down. Who'd they get to edit this one? Not knowing Thelma Schoonmaker is still working with him on these.
Bam.
Look, we've
people
defaulted
with over
to this
10K will say that.
Yeah, we've defaulted to this in the past, but there's the Ebert quote that no bad movie's too short and no good movie's too long. I think Scorsese at this point has earned the right to make his 4-hour movie. I'm a little concerned for my bladder, but aside from that, it's going to be a good time.
You could also not go, right? I think that's usually the other one. Sometimes I see we present some movies here and y'all are like, I'm not watching that. I think it's as simple as that. But I think it's realizing you cannot not miss what people are going to be talking about. It's him reuniting with Leo since Wolf? I think it's just a matter of people know, damn, I have no other choice but to wait there and sit there. So, hey, I'm excited for it to be 4 hours. I don't mind the 3-hour, 25-minute Irishman. So I'm a big fan of that. And eventually it goes to Apple, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it'll be available on streaming probably not terribly far into the future. I think they announced the October release date in theaters. So, before the end of the year, you can sit down, watch 2 hours now and 2 hours later, something like that.
Remember they did the whole streaming chart for how to watch Irishman from point A to point B. Once this guy exits the car, you can take a break. Made it 4 episodes. It's funny that Quentin Tarantino ended up doing that though, with his Western Hateful Eight is a series. Yeah. So if you felt Hateful Eight was 3 hours too long, he did end up cutting it up to 45-minute episodes. So I don't know. You can't really blame people for the way they watch things if the directors are going to end up doing that. But hey, I am going to be seated there for all 4 hours. I'm going to bring a catheter. I am ready to go.